This is Anatsui. He's an African artist currently considered one of the most influential African contemporary artists. He was born in 1944 in Ghana and began his studies at the European curriculum in 1964, during which Africa was experiencing a cultural renaissance. He studied drawings, paintings, and sculptures. During this time, he joined the Sankofa movement, which translates to "go back and get it." This movement was interested in reconnecting back to Africa's older traditions. His works relating to this movement included market trays with African motifs burned into them. In other earlier works, he would use an electric chainsaw to create abstract geometric patterns into different colored wood. The chainsaw represents the disruption caused by the European expansion, and the different color wood represents diversity in African cultures. He then later moved to Nigeria in 1975, and then began to teach at the University of Nigeria, and continues to live in Nigeria today. This is Old Man's Cloth, created in 2003 by Anatsui. This roughly jagged texture is made out of aluminum and copper wire. Anatsui lived in Ghana, which was previously a British colony nicknamed the Gold Coast, until it reached its independence in 1957. The bright gold luminescence of the artwork are a representation of the British colony. It also represents immorality, in which light is reflected off every angle, which can resemble God. The gold can also create a sense of royalty, as we learned in earlier Byzantine artworks. The watery movements on this artwork are an indication of the Atlantic Ocean, which was used to carry ships of slaves and traders between Africa, Europe, and the New World. It also is used to carry liquor from Europe to Africa. This artwork is created with about 1,000 liquor bottle labels and caps connected from corner to corner with copper wire. These bottle caps and labels were created in local Nigerian distilleries and recall colonial trade with slaves. Alcohol was one of the main items used in transatlantic slave trade. The use of recycled materials is also a representation of poverty and how many people seek satisfaction through drinking. These labels on the artwork still feature the name of the local distilleries, such as Chairman or King Salmon. This cloth is inspired by kente cloth. Kente cloth means royal cloth and is a West African tradition. Hand-woven, cut into 4 to 8 inch brightly colored strips, then sewn together forming a cloth with geometric patterns. In this artwork, the liquor bottle labels and caps form these 4 to 8 inch strips. Anatsui's father and brother were excellent kente weavers, so it is likely they inspired this artwork. This colorful wall hanging relates to West African textiles. Anatsui uses man-made natural materials in a lot of his artworks because he likes man's relationship with the environment. He also believes that humans' touch can change things in a positive way. Here is an excerpt from the quote. "My chosen media are sourced from my immediate environment. They have been put to intense human use. They are thought to have lost value. They are ignored, discarded, or thrown away. To me, their provenance imbues or charges them with history and content, which I seek to explore in order to highlight certain conditions of mankind's existence, as well as his relationship with himself and the environment. I therefore bring these objects back, to present them again in ways which seem to make them confront their former lives and the lives of those who have used them." Old Man's Cloth is located in the Harn Museum of Art in Florida. Unlike most art you will find in a museum, Anatsui had no instructions on how to install or hang this artwork. Instead, he believes, like life, art is not something we can cut and fix, and likes to give a sense of artistic freedom. This is controlled and manipulated by the installer in however they prefer to hang it. Here are some other artworks similar to Old Man's Cloth that were featured in the same collection. This collection was called Gau, which in the Ghana language of Ewe means metal cloth. Old Man's Cloth was one of Anatsui's first exhibits of the hanging metal sculptures. They are all very similar because they all use the same recycled materials. This is Gravity and Grace, created in 2010 also by Anatsui, also out of the same materials of aluminum and copper wire. This is 10 feet by 30 feet compared to Old Man's Cloth, which was 16 feet by 17 feet. This is another hanging cloth-like artwork in the mix of a painting and a sculpture. that can be hung freely, taken down, and put back up again and again in many different ways. Again, using bottle caps and labels, this has universal meanings. Both artworks remind the viewer of African history. This is unique because although it looks light, it is actually heavy, and some bottle caps reflect the light so brightly and others are so dark. It's almost as if this artwork contradicts itself. People often cannot decide whether Anatsui is a contemporary artist or abstract artist. But as shown in these artworks, he is kind of considered both. The abstraction comes from the undefined depiction, and the contemporary part comes from the inspiration of kente cloth. The question is also asked if it is a sculpture or a painting. It has sharp corners and rigid edges to give it a sculpture-like feel, but is hung like a painting, so it is also considered both. All in all, El Anatsui is known for transforming everyday discarded objects into a beautiful artwork. These all have universal meanings that can be interpreted in a variety of ways, but somehow lead back to Africa's history. Thanks for watching.